Hello, how are we all? About to do a little bit of a preview of the World Cup. But before all that, let me have a bit of coffee. Let me show you actually the table, a morning working table in our flat. You've got, you know him, Rafael Honigstein accreditation, a little bit of fruit, the notes, the water, of course. That's Rafael Honigstein's computer, but he's not here. More notes, rubbish food. And that's how we spend the mornings, just reading the papers, talking to each other, agreeing, disagreeing a little bit. Right now, Gab Marcotti has gone somewhere, I don't know where. He woke up the first one today. And Honigstein has gone to repair a jacket. Priorities first. That's why he always looks so immaculate and handsome, because he looks after himself. Even though if I show you his bedroom, you wouldn't relate that to such a smart person, but never mind. Maybe that's for another day. World Cup starting today, of course. That will be where some of the matches will be watched. As you know, in Moscow in an apartment. I was going to show you, but no, I'll show you some other time. And with Russia, Saudi Arabia, interestingly enough, in terms of positions in the FIFA ranking, is the worst start to a World Cup ever. And we've heard a lot of stories about how even in television shows people laugh at the Russian national side. I've been reading from Mostovoy, you must remember him, who used to play at Celta, that the lack of competitiveness of the side that was shown in the European Championships, in the Confederations Cup, was not corrected, as if there was no pressure. The pressure has been only to show that Moscow is a city, Russia is a country, and Moscow a city, capable to host and organize a very good World Cup. So far, I must tell you, so good. You can see a lot of the 30,000 security forces that are in place in Moscow, especially the closer you get to the Red Square, around the big hotels, of course. All that is very, very present. There is chaotic traffic. All of a sudden, some streets get closed. That's it, and then you don't move. And the road opposite, the opposite direction, is completely empty. Things that are illogical in my eyes, but I'm sure it has a logic somewhere. Anyway, apart from that, the place, Moscow, is brilliant as a city. It's vibrant. As I say, around the Red Square, there's a lot of people. I haven't been yet to where the fans are, and it seems to be, Rafi was telling me yesterday, a street. There's a street, an avenue in which they're all gone, and that's where they spend most of the time. You can see some of them walking around. But one thing I've noticed about Moscow is that the buildings are huge and the avenues are very big, so people look very small. It's a kind of interesting visual contrast. But as I said, so far so good. And in terms of football, we talked a little bit about Russia. Remember that there's been 9 Saudis that were in the Spanish league, that were parachuted into the Spanish league. Officially, they said that the cost of doing that was shared between the Spanish league and Saudi Arabia Federation. No. The Spanish teams were paid money to have those players. Out of those 9, only 3 have been called up, and the 3 of them seem to be in the lineup. So this tells you the gap in quality. But Rafael Honigstein was telling me as well that in the friendly against Germany, to be honest, they look very organized, pace up front, and could have been a different result to the victory of Germany. But this is today's game. Let's have a little look at the other big national sides, the big names that you, I assume, will consider candidates for this World Cup. Starting with, should we start with Spain? Just briefly to round up what was happening yesterday. Of course, Lopetegui now is gone. He will be presented as Real Madrid manager today, an hour after Fernando Hierro has his press conference. Fernando Hierro and Sergio Ramos, who of course will be talking about Lopetegui leaving. A few more clues that I've heard in the last 18 hours that you may be interested in. Sergio Ramos was the one pushing for Lopetegui to stay. And it's not just because he will be the new Real Madrid manager, but I guess politically it's quite convenient that that's the case. It's also down to the fact that he felt no changes were better than, resolving the crisis the way it was resolved. But most players just went like, whatever happens is good, which is a good sign because, of course, they didn't seem that hugely affected. That's what I'm hearing. But of course, it's held by the fact that Hierro is in charge. As soon as it became clear that Lopetegui was going to go, then Sergio Ramos and the other captains, Silva, Iniesta, also Pepe Reina and Gerard Piqué, who were involved in the conversations, key members of the squad, of course, they all thought Hierro, it has to be Hierro. Celades was a candidate as well, of course, briefly, but they went for Hierro because he is a leader, perhaps with his only 1 year experience as a head coach, may not be enough to be considered the best around, but he's there. He's going to bring Marchena, a World Cup winner, of course, and who is now with Sevilla, and he will be the link between Hierro and the players. Also, Hierro, remember, he was the director of football in 2008 and 2010. He was the man that made the transition from Luis Aragonés to Del Bosque, and of course that was successful. He's got the respect of everybody, and to be honest, in the World Cup, it's not about tactics anymore, is it? I mean, yes, there are questions about Diego Costa, should he start? About Silva, should he play on the right or the left-hand side? I say on the right, and probably that's where he will play. Do you put somebody next to Sergio Busquets? Probably, you'll have the likes of Thiago and Iniesta helping, perhaps preferred to Koke, we will see. But all in all, it's more or less a team that knows who are the candidates or the preferred 11, but also what are the alternatives. Iago Aspas is an alternative, Marco Asensio, Lucas Vázquez, wide players, that's an alternative as well. So it's all clear, and I think what Hierro will do is apply the logic. Do not try any kind of experiment. So you'll see a recognizable Spain, of course, and that should guarantee to be competitive. And one other thing to say is that the messages of Piqué, of Sergio Ramos in their social networks suggest that this could work in favor of the national side. Yes, it's been a massive distraction, but also it sharpened the instinct, it sharpened their ability to focus, and maybe that will benefit Spain. We will soon see because of course Portugal will be a big test. A Portugal that quite clearly will absorb pressure and counter-attack with Bernardo Silva, maybe Andres Silva next to Cristiano Ronaldo, perhaps Guedes up front as well, a lot of pace. And I think this Portugal side has got enough, it's not brilliant, but has got enough to actually surprise many. Everybody was surprised, of course, in the European Championships. The football wasn't brilliant, as I said, but they are a team. Fernando Santos is a leader they really trust, and Cristiano Ronaldo has got to jump in terms of impact in the World Cup. So far he scored 3 goals in 3 World Cups, 1 in each, against Iran, North Korea and Ghana in this order. So for Portugal to go far, they'll need the goals of Cristiano Ronaldo. 15 he scored in the qualifiers, of course. So I put Portugal in a good position to get to the quarters, and then we'll see. What else? Brazil with in Totti, a manager that actually can lead the side both through instinct and through science, if you like. He's able to. He's got a good smell of how to relate to players, what players need. So, for instance, they are in Sochi, which is a resort, really, and they were in the beach in the day off, and the families were there, the friends were there, and everybody seems very relaxed. Paulinho just said yesterday that he's never been in a squad in which everybody is so together and helping each other. A lot of things that favor the work that has been done by the federation, by the national coach. So with that in mind, and the talent they have, you have to say that they are the number 1 candidates, ahead of anybody else, I would say. They showed it in the friendlies, in the last against Croatia and Austria, I think it was. no goals conceded. This is important because defense is what takes you to a final, and the attack is what wins you a final. Those words are from Luis Aragonés. Well, quite clearly, Brazil have got enough in those departments. They've got in Alisson and Ederson two great goalkeepers. Up front, of course, Gabriel Jesus, Neymar. Actually, on Gabriel Jesus, Neymar is not ready, I don't think, physically to make an impact in 90 minutes. He will be a man of moments. But Gabriel Jesus, already the best goal scorer under the new regime, he could actually be the man that wins the Golden Boot to the best goal scorer in the tournament, because Brazil will go far, because in the group stages that's where most of the goals come for those that win the Golden Boot. Pat Nevin gave me that stat, and certainly Gabriel Jesus can fulfill the role of goal scorer, and that's another thing that Brazil have. More than one player can score goals. The important thing about Brazil is what they will do with Coutinho. Barcelona have realized that he's not a midfielder, not yet anyway, but he's been used as a midfielder. He was used as a midfielder or as a fourth attacker, but a bit deeper against Austria. I just see a more solid midfield, which may put Coutinho as a forward. Has got a bigger impact in the last third, for the last pass, for the goal, than controlling the midfield. So you may see the likes of Paulinho, Fernandinho, perhaps, a more solid midfield playing for Brazil and protecting what would be a very offensive 3, or in certain games 4 attackers. We'll see the role of Coutinho, but I think he will be more a forward than a midfielder. So that's for Brazil. Germany, of course, regulars in the semi-finals in the Champions League and European Championships. A team that knows how to compete. With the controversy about Ozil and Gundogan, that has created a little bit of tension, but Rafi was telling me actually that in Germany they always look for problems before the tournament starts, and Joachim Löw always manages to turn that around when the game starts and when the competition starts. Again, they've got everything in their favour. Timo Werner, I'm just very much looking forward to see him, but they've got in Thomas Müller, a regular goal scorer. In fact, out of the players that are in the tournament, the one who scored more goals, and you can see them going far. France and Belgium will be interesting. I think you see a Belgium that at the moment are scoring for free, may hit quickly because they certainly have the talent. Hazard is in good form, so is Lukaku, Mertens scoring friendlies as well. So you've got a team that perhaps the problem will be with the back three that will not change. It's a back three that's a little bit slow perhaps, and they're not used to playing in a back three. So we'll see we'll see how they adapt to it. It's certainly the three of them have played in a back three, but with the national side, I know they've been trying it for a while. You wonder if they had the versatility, but especially the pace, if they put a very high line up to actually deal with certain teams. But they will score for fun, and they certainly have got the ability to do that. But I just wonder if it will be one of those teams that would peak very early and then fizzle out. We'll see. I see France will be the opposite. France at the moment still playing like individuals. There is not a sense of collective football in their boots, but the team they're going to put together from the midfield onwards is fantastic. Tolisso, Pogba, Kanté, Griezmann, Mbappé and Dembélé seems to be the three in the midfield and the three in attack, which, you know, has got so much talent and everything. And they still got players coming from the bench that can now also make a difference. What else? Am I leaving anybody else? Germany, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, France. I think that's about it. Those are sides that certainly should be seen far in the competition. Let's not forget, of course, Argentina. And Uruguay. I think in this World Cup there's a stat that has surprised me. There is less shots on goal than ever in the last World Cup, less than ever, which suggests that teams know how to defend. Nobody wants to lose possession unless it's for a good reason, for a good shot, a good opportunity. And that means two things. One, that the goalkeepers are going to be crucial, because if there aren't many chances, those that are able to win games by saving the unsavable, that will be important. Good goalkeepers will be crucial. But of course, national sides have got not one but two goal scorers, and are regular goal scorers, people that are efficient in the way they finish moves. That will also help the sides, more than control, more than possession, more than the ability to change tactically as well. I think it's goalkeepers and strikers, something that we know at Middlesbrough United. At that level, it's important, it's crucial to have a good goalkeeper and a good striker. By the way, when I got involved with Middlesbrough United, I asked Sir Alex Ferguson what would be important, even at that level, and he said to have a good striker and a good goalkeeper. So there you are. In the World Cup, it's becoming more and more important. So I would say Uruguay have definitely got that, especially in terms of goal scorers. Cavani and Luis Suarez are perhaps the strongest partnership up front in the whole of the World Cup, and both of them can definitely score. They understand each other, like each other, work for each other. So Uruguay could go far. And then in terms of Argentina, a lot will depend on Messi. Probably Messi will have in front of him Kun Agüero. What a shame that Lanzini got injured, because Lanzini with Lo Celso are two players that understand Messi, and they know what Messi requires. When they return the ball to Messi, it's not a melon, it's a ball. Too often, the ball that Messi receives from his own teammates is not the right one. And too often, players around them, they just want the ball to the feet instead of moving into space. Lanzini understands football closer to Messi. He's not going to be there. So let's see who plays with alongside Messi. Perhaps Leo will be a little bit dropping a little bit, but of course he will be influential in the last third. He has played the expectations down for Argentina, and it's rightly that he does so. Quite clearly, having tried 3 at the back and then 4 at the back, Sampaoli has got his doubts about how the team has to play a little bit still, and a lot will depend on Messi. Far too much. 4 years ago, his 4 goals helped Argentina to go to the final. Once he got there, the team had become not the Messi team, but Mascherano's team had dropped deep. It was all about a strong midfield in Mascherano and counter-attack, and of course Messi was not built at that time to do that. His physique wasn't helping, and now he's sharper. Now with Sampaoli, who will demand a team to pressure high and to recover the ball early, a little bit like Barcelona, the kind of football that Messi will benefit from if he gets the ball in that third against a disorganized team. When the team is coming out, that's where Messi can do damage. But there's so much respect for Messi that I'm sure a lot of teams will drop deep, and then the work of Kun Agüero or Di Maria will be absolutely crucial. Higuain, if he doesn't start but comes on, it will be crucial to open up spaces for Leo to take advantage of. We'll see. I am hearing what Leo Messi is talking about Argentina. Of course, they're hopeful that something could happen. I don't think it will be his last World Cup. He's only 30. He's going to be 31 in June. But I think he's got another World Cup in him. It feels like this Argentina is not one to impress. But if he does, it will be down to the work mostly of him. So it will be the kind of thing that people will say he won the World Cup. If he doesn't, there is already enough analysis out there to suggest that Argentina is not one of the strongest teams in the competition. How about England? I can see how English commentators are kind of biting the lip, because they feel, some of them, they feel they have the obligation to actually cheer England on a little bit more. And why not? Because right now nobody's lost, nobody's drew, nobody is won yet, and everything is possible. But as soon as they start to talk about the possibility of going far, there are a lot of things that stop them getting really excited. And it's just, there's a young side, the expectations have been through a clear message from the federation, have been put very, very low, and that can benefit England, no doubt. But you have to dream, and I see a team that, if everything goes their way, if they're able to beat the first one or two obstacles, and I think there are players there that will be able to do that. If they don't feel the pressure like in other generations, they will enjoy the World Cup. That's the big, most important thing. And once they get to the quarterfinals, I think it could be Brazil who they meet there. Then perhaps talent will make a difference. But getting to the quarterfinals will be a good result. More important than that, performances will be absolutely crucial. If England manage to give good performances and to make everybody enjoy the football, which they're able to, then I think it will be seen as a good success. I've always said Gareth Southgate is in a kamikaze mission. Whatever happens, he won't be able to take England to win the World Cup, I don't think. Whatever happens, he will have to go at some point, because if they do well in this World Cup, more will be expected in the next one, and perhaps still not the time for England. But he has changed the way people think about the national side, and that's massive. He has changed the way the national side plays, massive as well. And I've met some of the guys that are coming through, the under-17s, the under-19s, people who have got a solid thinking about football, layers as players that perhaps they didn't have before, maturity, which will be crucial to deal with pressure. A lot of things that will help England in the future, and that process has been started by the federation, but the brave man to actually put it in practice, that was Gareth Southgate. So with all that in mind, I'll leave you with the hope that you enjoy the World Cup. Certainly we are doing it here. It's been busy few days since I arrived. It has been non-stop. I'm supposed to write the update of the Pep Guardiola book. I haven't even put a word yet. And if Orion hears about that, they just get panicking, because the deadline is this rock that is coming towards me and is going to hit me any second now. But those things are the ones that I think about the World Cup. As always, subscribe if you think it's worth it. I'll keep you updated on my thinking on the World Cup. I'll give you previews of some of the key games, and also we'll do live YouTube lives from the stadium or after big games too, in which we can exchange experiences and thoughts. With that in mind, I'll leave you for now. See you later. Bye. Bye.